Good afternoon and welcome to the 43rd Conferment and Induction Ceremonies of our new diplomates in ophthalmology. I am Dr. Sherman Valero, a trustee of the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology and your host for today's momentous event. Before we begin, may I ask everyone to join in the singing of the Philippine National Anthem, to be followed by a prayer to be led by Dr. Jacqueline King, also a PBO trustee.
Blessed are you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth. We invoke your presence with us today. We thank you for inspiring the faculty and mentors of our training institutions, whose dedication and collective aspiration have succeeded in transmitting our ideals and core values to a new generation of ophthalmologists. We thank you for providing these successful board examinees with wonderful parents, spouses, family, and friends whose support and sacrifices have enabled them to carry to completion the work that you have begun in them years ago. As they continue their path into the future, we beseech you, Almighty God, to bless them in all their endeavors. Teach them to revere the divine spirit that animate each and every patient, that they may always provide care that is competent and compassionate. Teach them to uphold the highest standards of ethics in their personal and professional lives. Teach them humility. May they gain wisdom and guidance from their teachers and mentors, from their patients and colleagues. Above all, teach them to respond with love and to never tire of the great mission and purpose to which you have called them, and that is to serve, to heal, and to restore sight in fulfillment of their sacred vocation. In Jesus' name, amen.
Once again, welcome to all of you, to the members, trustees, and officers of the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology, to the chairs, training officers, and consultant and resident staff of the different ophthalmology training institutions, to family, friends, and loved ones, and of course, to our honorees for today, our PBO inductees. It has been a very challenging few years, and no one more than you guys have been put literally and figuratively to the test, not just by the rigors of residency training, but also by a global pandemic that happened right in the middle of your training. But here you are, proud and successful specialists who have survived and hopefully flourished. To formally welcome us all, I would like to call on the immediate past president of the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology and a distinguished mentor to a lot of us here, Dr. Jacinto Deliaco.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the 43rd Conferment and Induction Ceremonies of the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology for the new diplomates in ophthalmology. To the 69 candidates for certification this afternoon as licensed ophthalmologists, we celebrate with you and your loved ones for successfully passing the recently concluded qualifying written and oral examinations which you have just taken after graduating from ophthalmology residency training program. We warmly welcome you in advance to the ophthalmic community and to the ranks of certified medical eye care professionals in eradicating and preventing blindness in different parts of the country. With the prestigious diplomate of PBO title, which you have worked hard for now added to your MB degree, what will ultimately define you in ophthalmic community or in society will be whether your eventual services as licensed ophthalmic practitioners will be for the welfare of your patients and not for greedy or selfish desires. For they now will earn the privilege to use the title Diplomate Philippine Board of Ophthalmology or the PBO after their names. Keep dear to your hearts and savor the feeling of the title as diplomates. Then settle down to be real eye healthcare providers, upholding the ideals of a consummate ophthalmologist and board diplomate by observing the ethical, professional, and legal standards of the practice of ophthalmology. Next, I would like to welcome their proud parents and loved ones who have been very supportive and understanding of the hard work the inductees had to go through. To them, the inductees should dedicate their PBO certificates and medallions. So thank you, their parents, for supporting them through residency. But you cannot sigh a relief because they will still ask for your big help to start their practice, especially ophthalmology is equipment dependent. Of course, the payback time will come. To the new diplomates, may you render your service with dedication, professionalism, fairness, and honesty to all, especially the indigents. Reject any form of materialism and selfishness. The board would like to give credits to its officers and boards of trustees and members, as well as to the different training officers, chairs, and mentors who have contributed by their teaching to the level of training and education of the inductees. In the same respect, the board is extremely grateful to all the invited examiners from different institutions who shared their valuable time in joining us again this year. This year's induction again is in virtual form, just like last year because of the increasing number of cases of COVID-19. But then, at least it's in the safety and comfort of our homes or private places. The only thing that's probably missing is there will be no dinner afterwards, but you can all have dinner elsewhere where the family would like. So the induction of the new diplomates this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Dr. Diliaco, for those very inspiring words. Now, before we proceed with the program, we would be remiss if we do not introduce the very hardworking people behind the PBO who have toiled just as hard as you to make sure that residency training in ophthalmology in the country and the graduates that we produce adhere to the highest standards that we can all be proud of. The members, trustees, and the officers of the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology. Dr. Prospero Maria Tuaño, President, Dr. Teresita Castillo, Vice President, who is also head of the very hardworking examinations committee, who spent sleepless nights fixing the certifying exams. And she happens to be celebrating her birthday today also. So let's all wish Dr. Tess a very happy birthday. Happy birthday, Dr. Tess. And then we have Dr. Ruben Limbonsiong, the secretary, and Dr. Reynaldo Santos, treasurer. Trustees, Dr. Milagros Arroyo, Dr. Faye Charmaine Cruz, Dr. Jacinto Diliaco, and Dr. Jacqueline King. Other members of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Richard Ko, Dr. Alvina Pauline Santiago, Dr. Antonio Sai, who also celebrated his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, sir. And Dr. Pearl Tameses Villalon. Rounding up the Board of Trustees are Dr. Joseph Anthony Tumbocon, yours truly, Sherman Valero, and the PAO President sitting as ex officio member, Dr. Vicente Victor Ocampo. Other members of the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology include Dr. Manuel Agulto, Dr. Mario Aquino Sr., Dr. Marisa Valbuena, Dr. Jeffrey Lim, Dr. Maria Catarina Nasol, Dr. Lorenzo Fernandez, Dr. Feliz Katrina Ranche, Dr. Maria Victoria Rondaris, and Dr. Darby Santiago. We would also like to make special mention of the other members of the different technical working groups of the PBO who have been working very hard to continuously improve the systems, processes, and the outputs of the PBO. For the Accreditation Committee, Dr. Maria Ann Margaret Antonio, Dr. Gabriel Evangelista, Dr. Erwin Isla, and Dr. Ricardo Tobias Papa. For the Credentials Committee, Dr. Mary Ellen C. For curriculum development, Dr. Jubaida Aquino, Dr. Glenn Guevara, Dr. Erwin Palisok, and Dr. Alex Sua. For the PREX committee, Dr. Elizel Claveria, Dr. Arnel De Jesus, Dr. Victor Anthony Ermita, Dr. Manuel Ibanez IV, Dr. Daniel Ong, Dr. Andrea Cristina Monzon Pajarillo, Dr. Raquel Quino, Dr. Karen Reyes, Dr. Alex Sua, and Dr. Timothy Tanglisay. And of course, our very hardworking administrator, Ms. Donna De La Cruz. So thank you to all of you. Thank you very much. And I hope that you can see in our graduates the results of all your hard work. So a long-standing tradition in the PBO induction ceremonies is that we invite a special guest to give an inspirational message to our inductees. We have had respected colleagues, academicians, members of the religious, politicians, and leaders from various fields to give this talk in the past. But this year, we decided to invite someone closer to home, someone who actually has an extensive and intimate knowledge of what we are all doing here and what we are all trying to achieve in this exercise. Who best to set you off into the world as diplomates in ophthalmology than the beloved and respected president of the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology, Dr. Prospero Maria Tuaño.
To the Board of Trustees, chairs, and resident training officers of accredited eye training programs, PBO candidates, your parents and loved ones, guests, good afternoon. The incumbent president does not usually deliver the keynote address to the new diplomates, although it's not really unprecedented. Frankly, I was hesitant, but the PBO trustees were quite persuasive. I could not refuse. After seeing how hard they worked for the diplomate exams and the accreditation visits. But they reminded me of KISS, K-I-S-S. Keep it simple, sir. I also told myself to keep it significant because I am sure that your presence here is not in eager anticipation of my address, but rather the culmination of your efforts to earn the title of PBO diplomate. My daughter also advised me to keep it short because whatever I say here will be forgotten soon after the ceremony. That's all right, I told her, as long as they remember the last sentence. So my message will be simple, short, and easily recalled, I hope, because it's only one. I will continue the message which I shared last year during the celebration of the PBO 50th anniversary. It is a subject that has sustained me for the past 33 years as a PBO trustee. And that message, as redundant as it may seem to my colleagues in the board and contemporaries in the profession, is continuity. To our new diplomates, let me invite you to the PBO and continue the life of the PBO. For a little bit of cinematic effect, let's call it the circle of life in the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology. The circle represents connectivity and inclusion. As a philosophical concept, the circle of life means that we start at the end and end in the beginning. Our lives from beginning to end resemble a full, complete circle. No matter how big or small the circle is, it ends in the exact same way for everyone. In The Lion King, Mufasa is teaching his son Simba how to become a great king. In order to make the pride lands thrive, a lion must follow the principle of the circle of life, respecting all creatures so that nature follows its natural course. If a person or idea dies, another is born, thus keeping a balance of things. Mufasa is training his son to succeed him in his reign. Inevitably, he will move on, and Simba will assume the role of monarch. That would make a circle motion that would be repeated to continue the circle of life. On a very personal level, I see a glimpse of my own experience with continuity. My father started the Circle of Ophthalmology at St. Luke's Medical Center in the early 1950s under the supervision of Dr. Jimeniano de Ocampo. He was actually the first trainee of the person considered to be the father of modern Philippine ophthalmology. When my father retired at the age of 80 years old, I continued his solo clinical practice at St. Luke's. Fast forward from 1975 to the present, my own circle of clinical care is nearing its end. Having retired from academic duties since 10 years ago, and now having been forcibly retired from active clinical practice due to the big C, that's COVID. And no, I did not get infected. Yet I am relieved and elated that a new circle is unwinding. My son has begun his own career in our specialty. I did not invent or conceive the principle of continuity, but inherited it from my mentors who preceded me in the board. FYI, appointment as member of the board and election as a trustee is a permanent and enduring contract. Once you're in for life unless there are unfortunate events. This practice is unusual and not mimicked by a majority of medical societies and boards. Nonetheless, the provision has remained basically unchanged for the past 50 years, and I have realized the wisdom of the rule. It has guaranteed a smooth flow of activities with the minimum of drastic disruptions in policies. No abrupt radical changes which could harmfully affect the training programs of institutions and residents. Some label this as conservatism. Maybe. Stagnation? Definitely not. Adaptation and continuity? Absolutely yes. Persevering in the PBO board, I realize how imperative it is to preserve the balance of things and continue this tradition in the PBO. Most of the members of the PBO Accreditation Committee have become accustomed to my fixation on continuity. During our accreditation visits, I emphasize to the department faculty the essence of continuity of care of patients who have the right to be accorded a consistent and rational plan of management by a designated team of residents and consultants. I also emphasize the continuity of learning of the residents, such that the learner is exposed to the treatment phases of his or her patients from the start to the completion of treatment as much as possible. I have stressed the creation of the manual of operations for each individual eye training centers. Here, guidelines are written down clearly such that the department faculty and trainees are fully aware of the rules that run the department. For succeeding members of the department, the manual serves as the instrument and link that ensures a uniform, efficient, and continuous implementation of duties. In the spirit of continuity, allow me to provide a very brief history of the events that shaped the PBO, then lead you to the present, where you may discover opportunities to connect and continue the noble intentions of the PBO. The circle of life of the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology began in November 21, 1971. That's 51 years ago. From the beginning, the three broad objectives have been laid down and have remained unchanged. These include eye residency training, certification or credentialing as an eye specialist, and program accreditation. What evolved through the years are the policies, the guidelines, and methods crafted in order to address the prevailing challenges and enable the board to grow and advance. During the formative period of 1971 to 1986, under the leadership of the first president, Dr. Emmanuel Almeda, the prevalent and most pressing problem was the lack of eye specialists in the country. and further compounded by the apparent maldistribution of eye specialists. 70% of IMDs were practicing in the major urban areas. There was no standardized eye training program. Hence, the immediate and obvious solution was to establish eye training programs in order to produce more eye doctors. The PBO embarked on its mission to attain the World Health Organization prescribed ratio of one eye doctor to 100,000 population. The first PBO diplomates were inducted in 1973, all categorized under the so-called grandfather clause. The first diplomate exams were given in 1977. In the same year, the accreditation of eye training programs started. By 1981, the number of eye diplomates increased to 204, but the proportion of urban practitioners remained at 70%. The period of growth, 1987 to 97, followed under the leadership of Dr. Romeo Fajardo. Aware of the prevailing challenges of manpower, he formulated two 5-year development plans to address the structure and function of the PBO organization. Standardization became the key objective in the residency training programs. These development plans have served as the foundation on which succeeding guidelines were based. The succeeding 18 years of the PBO is the period of advancement under the leadership of Dr. Romeo Espiritu from 1998 to 2005 and Dr. Cosme Labal from 2005 to 2016. The succeeding years focused on upgrading the procedures and standards of eye residency training, program accreditation, and diplomate examinations. Obviously, it was not enough to have many resident graduates. We must have graduates who are clinically and surgically competent, capable of research and teaching, ethically and socially responsible, and imbued with aspirations for professional growth and development. During this period, evolved many of the practices that you are now witnessing and experiencing. The PBO guidelines for accreditation was constantly updated to level up the prerequisites for accreditation. Emphasis was placed on strict credentialing of the consultant teaching staff. The accreditation process is governed by a set of guidelines which continues to evolve to ensure objectivity and uniformity of assessment. There was a mandate to establish subspecialty clinics duly supervised by trained and credentialed subspecialists. Essential infrastructure and facilities were asserted. Training activities in the form of conferences, OPD clinics, and research activities were specified. Training resources like patients, surgeries, and ancillary procedures were tabulated. A set of performance criteria per resident was adopted with the use of prescribed assessment tools such as the OSEX, the GRACIS, and OSCAR. The format of the diplomate written and oral examinations was thoroughly upgraded to meet the standards of objectiveness, validity, and fairness. This was achieved mainly through the dedicated efforts of Dr. Mario Aquino Sr., Dr. Marie Valbuena, and Dr. Teresita Castillo. Questions for the written examinations were mandated from each accredited training program. The oral examinations transformed into a 3-stage process consisting of slide identification, skills demonstration, and panel discussion. The PBO syllabus was introduced in 2001 to standardize the teaching content. Prior to 2004, many institutions were unable to provide a regular formative assessment of their trainees. Hence, the annual National In-Service Examination, or the OPEX, was initiated in 2004 and obligated thereafter. Now, under the supervision of the PBO, it's called the PREX. The PBO logbook was started in 2004, intended as a diary of the resident's activities as a trainee. It afforded an orderly and uniform method of recording the prescribed surgeries, scientific presentations, and assessment results. The resident training officers were organized in 2008 to spearhead the thrust in the enhancement of training. The strategy highlighted the crucial role that the RTO plays in the training program. Every year since 2008, an annual meeting of RTOs is held to share best practices in residency training. We entered the period of expansion in 2017 with a very, very optimistic outlook. All training programs have shown improvement. Noted in all the training programs is a competent and working faculty, upgraded facilities and infrastructures, sustained training activities, and adherence to the prescribed assessment tools. The results of the diplomate examinations are very impressive, with marked improvement in the passing rate. Non-takers in all accredited institutions have practically disappeared. Despite this seemingly favorable perspective, the board remains alert on challenges that persist. The Board of Trustees, now presided over by Dr. Jacinto Dillaco, conducted a timely strategic workshop in 2019. Among the weaknesses and threats identified are two situations that may be pertinent to my quest for your continuous support. The board is weighed down by its limited manpower. With PBO tasks assumed solely by the trustees, it is noted that current members of the board are multitasking, spread thinly, and have apparent conflicts of interest. The board decided to expand its workforce by mobilizing technical working groups, or TWGs. We are very fortunate to identify exceptionally talented and technically savvy diplomates. They were invited to form the backbone of the accreditation committee and the examination committee. This was actually very well timed and almost providential because the year 2020 witnessed the surge of a global pandemic which disrupted all the existing programs of the PBO. As a result, all face-to-face encounters were disallowed, compelling the accreditation and examination activities to be conducted through unfamiliar virtual platforms. These TWG members have become instrumental in the continuous delivery of the duties of the board. They have unselfishly contributed their talent and time to help the accreditation, examination, and more recently, the curriculum committees. In a way, TWGs have opened and expanded the functions of the board. Their efforts are invaluable, and the board is extremely grateful. From the very start of the PBO, and still partly prevalent today, due to the growing Filipino population, is the challenge to provide a rational distribution of eye specialists in the country. Despite 50 years of ophthalmology growth, and despite the increase in the number of competent ophthalmology graduates, it cannot be denied that certain regions of the country still remain underserved for various reasons. The issue of maldistribution of eye care still lingers, albeit in a lesser number of regions. On a bright note, we have noted the deliberate migration and settling of our diplomates in many regions of the country where previous graduates have feared to tread. In those regions, we have seen the gradual development and improvement of the delivery of eye care. Thankfully, the national government has been supportive in upgrading the regional medical centers. We are impressed by the PBO diplomates who have chosen to become involved in the eye departments of these hospitals. Slowly, we have seen how existing regional eye training programs have improved and matched the training standards set up by the board. We have seen how their efforts have translated into the improvement of eye residency training and the quality of the resident graduates. The board is aware of the multiplier or rippling effect of an efficient eye training program in a region. This eventually results in sustained eye care in the locality. In this regard, the board has moved to encourage and support the establishment of eye training programs in all regional hospitals. Having opened the application process, rigorous as it may seem, we are pleased to receive queries from Cagayan Valley, Batangas, and Zamboanga. Last year, the regional hospital in Pangasinan applied and presently is in the final phase of its accreditation. We look forward to applications from regional hospitals in Bicol, Eastern Visayas, and Mindanao. For you diplomates who still remain open to options, especially those who already have roots in those regions, consider nurturing an ophthalmology career in these frontiers. Consider an active participation in the regional medical centers, where the opportunity to teach and train residents are present. In your solo private practice, a single patient is treated and helped. In teaching, that is multiplied many times over for many generations. I've always declared that the teacher is the most important element in an effective eye training program. Our biological life cycle consists of procreation, birth, life, and death. An individual goes through several phases of life after birth: infancy, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, and old age. I believe the PBO has lived through infancy and childhood and had just emerged from its adolescent phase, which is often considered the most turbulent. Perhaps it is now an adult, perhaps a young adult at 51 years old. I have linked you with the PBO heritage and then led you to the present, where your participation is of utmost importance. For me, as a fading PBO trustee, whose circle is nearing its beginning, it is the right time to ask you to find your place in the path unwinding and continue the tasks laid down before you today. I charge you to continue to serve the Filipino patient with honesty, with responsibility, and consistently. I charge you to uphold the principles embodied in the oath that you will recite today. I charge you to continue and preserve the circle of life of the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology. I concluded my PBO narrative last year as follows, and will conclude my message today the same way. As we, or should I say you, face the next 50 years, the PBO must continue to exist, to reform, to grow, to advance, and to expand. As my respected mentor, Dr. Romeo Fajardo would say, continuity is progress. That's the last sentence. Remember that. Thank you, and congratulations to all inductees.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tuanyo, for those very inspiring words. And I do hope we all take Dr. Tuanyo's words to heart, that we carry the letters DPBO not just with pride, but more importantly, with responsibility. And with that, we come to the most awaited portion of the afternoon, the presentation of our candidates for conferment of the title Diplomate of the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology. May I now call on Dr. Ruben Limbonsiong, Secretary of the PBO, to do the honors. Dr. Ruben?
Thank you very much, Dr. Sherman. Good afternoon to all. So, Mr. Chairman and President, officers and trustees of the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology, it is my honor and pleasure to present to you the candidates for diplomate in ophthalmology, having fulfilled all the requirements and criteria set by the board. The names of the candidates will be announced alphabetically, and their training institutions will be mentioned. Each candidate will be bestowed a Philippine Board of Ophthalmology certificate, a PBO medal, and a PBO pin. Let us now begin the conferment ceremony. Dr. Michelle Dominic Aguirre from the Fatima University Medical Center. Dr. Marie Fernanda Ajero from the University of the East Ramon Magsaysay Memorial Medical Center. Dr. Marie France Alcala from the Hospital ng Makati. Dr. Yasser Al-Hassan from Baguio General Hospital and Medical Center. Dr. Jewel Faith Anotado from Western Visayas Medical Center. Dr. Daniel Rafael Banyes from the Philippine General Hospital. Dr. Rokaya Bantuas, also from the Philippine General Hospital. Dr. Fryan Barcase from the University of Santo Tomas Hospital. Dr. Niman Vincent Vargas from the Cardinal Santos Medical Center. Dr. Noel Francis Pelieza from the Jose R. Reyes Memorial Medical Center. Dr. Russell Bernal from the Ilocos Training and Regional Medical Center. Dr. Jake Bonnie Briones from the Southern Philippines Medical Center. Dr. Lee Jerome Briones III from the University of the East Ramon Magsaysay Memorial Medical Center. Dr. Dana Celine Camayo from the Quirino Memorial Medical Center. Dr. Jose Timothy Martin Chua from the Philippine General Hospital. Dr. Mara Sabrina Clemente from the Amang Rodriguez Memorial Medical Center. Dr. John Ulrich Porquera from the Hospital ng Macau. Dr. Janine Faye Porquera, also from the Hospital ng Makati. Dr. Mark Thomas Correa from the Cardinal Santos Medical Center. Dr. Patricio Lorenzo Cruz from the University of Santo Tomas Hospital. Dr. Elijah Justin Baus from the Ilocos Training and Regional Medical Center. Dr. Maria Isabela de Guia from the Medical City. Dr. Mary Elaine Diaz from the East Avenue Medical Center. Dr. Ramon Henry Dixon, also from the East Avenue Medical Center. Dr. Aryan Rose Dundum from the Western Visayas Medical Center. Dr. Maria Giselle B. from the East Avenue Medical Center. Dr. Cyrus John Gordon from the Vicente Soto Memorial Medical Center. Dr. Princess May Gotampo from the St. Luke's Medical Center. Dr. Denise Patricia Granada from the Medical City. Dr. Maria Cristela Guevara from the Philippine General Hospital. Dr. Alexander Gerard Nino Dungang from the University of Santo Tomas Hospital. Dr. Francis Efraim Laksamano, also from the University of Santo Tomas Hospital. Dr. Marlu J. Madrigal from the Armed Forces of the Philippines Medical Center. Dr. Joe Michael Maniwan from the Rizal Medical Center. Dr. Leo Manuel from the Mariano Marcos Memorial Hospital and Medical Center. Dr. Marion Rose Marquez from the Philippine General Hospital. Dr. Arabella Mendoza from the Rizal Medical Center. Dr. John Michael Mendoza from the University of Santo Tomas Hospital. Dr. Katrina Feliz Mendoza from the St. Luke's Medical Center. Dr. Rainier Milante from the East Avenue Medical Center. Dr. Jose Paulo Mirasol IV from Manila Doctors Hospital. Dr. Maria Minerva Murakami from Fatima University Medical Center. Dr. Armand Murillo Jr. from Jose R. Reyes Memorial Medical Center. Dr. Gian Carlo Narag from the East Avenue Medical Center. Dr. Concepcion Noveno from the Vicente Soto Memorial Medical Center. Dr. Brian Bernard Ontianco from the Hospital of the Infant Jesus. Dr. Melissa Rose Orteza from the Philippine General Hospital. Dr. Dave Michael Oyas from the Cebu Doctors University Hospital. Dr. Rudolph Christian Palma from the Far Eastern University, Dr. Nicanor Reyes Medical Foundation. Dr. John Val Pascara from the Quirino Memorial Medical Center. Dr. Peter Paul Perocho from the Northern Mindanao Medical Center. Dr. Frances Marie Keeling from the Amang Rodriguez Memorial Medical Center. Dr. Clemens E. Sabitsana from the Philippine General Hospital. Dr. John Gabriel Salas from the East Avenue Medical Center. Dr. Daniel Jerome Santos from the Jose R. Reyes Memorial Medical Center. Dr. Earl Du Junan Sarabosi from the Vicente Soto Memorial Medical Center. Dr. Kenneth Saulog from the Manila Doctors Hospital. Dr. Jason So from the East Avenue Medical Center. Dr. Stephanie Krista Someda from the St. Luke's Medical Center. Dr. Jessica Bell C. from the Baguio General Hospital and Medical Center. Dr. Paula Vivian Tang from the St. Luke's Medical Center. Dr. Jonah Cristina Piope from the Medical City. Dr. Patrick Arthur Torrio from the Ospital ng Maynila Medical Center. Dr. Maria Socorro Torno from the Jose R. Reyes Memorial Medical Center. Dr. Aramis Torrefranca Jr. from the Philippine General Hospital. Dr. Justin May Torregosa from the Cebu Veles General Hospital. Dr. Ferdinand Balbuena Jr. from the Far Eastern University, Dr. Nicanor Reyes Medical Foundation. Dr. Angelica Antoniette Vega from the Makati Medical Center. And Dr. Ulysses Joseph Yap from the Quirino Memorial Medical Center.
Congratulations to all of you on your hard work to get here. And a hearty congratulations as well to your loved ones, colleagues, and mentors for supporting you through this journey. And while passing the boards is no mean feat, as you can well attest to, we also would like to acknowledge the achievements of some of you who excelled in this year's certifying exams. May I now call on Dr. Teresita Castillo, Vice President of the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology and Chair of the Examinations Committee, to do the honors. Dr. Castillo.
Thank you, Sherman, and good afternoon to all. The board would like to give recognition to the top three performers in its certifying examinations. It is with pride and pleasure that I introduce our top three performers for the 2022 certifying examinations. In third place is Dr. Jason Saw, who finished his residency training from the East Avenue Medical Center. Second place, we have Dr. Clemens Lee Sabitsana, who finished his residency from the Philippine General Hospital. And our board top notcher for this year is Dr. Kathrina Therese Mendoza, who graduated from the St. Luke's Medical Center. Congratulations!
Thank you very much, Dr. Castillo. And once again, happy birthday. And congratulations to our top three examinees. Now, let us hear the response of our inductees from one of their own, our top notcher for this year, Dr. Katrina Therese Mendoza from the St. Luke's Medical Center.
To our distinguished speaker, Dr. Prospero Tuaño, officers and members of the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology, my fellow inductees and our families, good evening to all of you. It is my greatest honor to represent my fellow inductees as we take a stand into becoming the youngest members of the community. To be honest, I've never dreamt of delivering a speech, not once in my life. However, it seems that during the deliberation, the stars have aligned leading us to this moment. So at least for a few minutes, please bear with me. Flashback to several years ago, I was a clerk in medical school. Towards the latter part of the year, I knew that I had to choose which path to take. For some, they've already decided which residency program they will take. In fact, even before entering medical school. But it was different for me. As a person who just studied and did what I was told to do, I was completely overwhelmed on having to decide what residency program to take. This was the first time in my life that I'll be making a big decision with which my future will depend on. I then decided to trust my instincts. There was no magical moment or particular reason. but I chose ophthalmology. This should be easy, right? I convinced myself, but I was wrong. I can still vividly remember when I was attending the basic course in ophthalmology. It was already our fourth day, and I just cannot keep up with the lectures. My goodness, I didn't even know that there was an open or closed angle glaucoma. I was in so much distress and blamed myself for this. But luckily, this was the first time the stars aligned as I made it out alive and got into St. Luke's Medical Center. Take note, stars and lots of prayers. During the first 2 years of residency, I was extremely zealous, trying to be like a sponge that will absorb all the knowledge, experiences, defeats, and triumphs. It was like being a child all over again, entering Disneyland for the first time. I was literally captivated with all the consultants I've met, knowing how much they have contributed to the world of ophthalmology. Yes, it was a year full of motivation, inspiration, and excitement. Excited what the future will hold when the time comes that I, together with my batchmates, will be the senior residents performing all the surgeries. This, perhaps, was the better chapter of my life so far. I enjoyed all the conferences, exploring different coffee shops, and eating out with my co residents. These people from different walks of life coming in together and sharing a common goal. From what I considered as strangers at first, led me to having friends with whom I found a loving new family. Then came my senior year, my most awaited year. For the first 2 months, I was at the top of my game, doing as many surgeries as possible, at the same time trying to adjust on how to be the ideal senior resident. I felt like I was getting the most out of my senior year, gearing towards perfection with every surgery I did. I had so many plans. My to do list was never ending. However, we all know what happens next. Yes, COVID-19 pandemic struck us. Suddenly, we were placed in a lockdown and a community quarantine. Our lives were put on hold. For us residents, we had to stop all elective surgeries. Some of us even stopped seeing patients and were assigned to help in the COVID wards and emergency department. Our country relied so much on us as doctors that we needed to put aside our ophthalmoscopes and start wearing our stethoscopes once again. This went on for a few more months, leading to significant changes in our training program. The change was certain, but we were resilient, leading us to see the light at the end of the tunnel. We slowly started doing surgeries again. We started seeing OPD patients bit by bit. We were struggling to come back to training while prioritizing safety for both our patients and our loved ones. At this time, all I can remember was that my mind was full of fears, doubts, and anxieties. I was constantly questioning if I will ever be as good as our previous graduates, and how can I treat my own patients knowing that I lack experience. It was almost the end of 2020, yet we are far from completing our required cases. Extension of our residency was inevitable. And on top of this, I was tasked to become the chief resident during my final year. Looking forward, even though I didn't know how this would affect me, the light at the end of the tunnel was growing brighter. I keep convincing myself it's a new year, a new chance to settle all our unfinished businesses. At this moment, let me share with you an excerpt as this perfectly described my experience during my last year of 2021. As a chief resident, nearly all responsibility fell on my shoulders, and the opportunities to succeed or fail were greater than ever. The pain of failure had led me to understand that technical excellence was a moral requirement. Good intentions were not enough. not when so much depend on my skills, when the difference between tragedy and triumph was defined by 1 or 2 millimeters. The last 2 years of my residency taught me a lot. First, that I cannot do everything alone. Words are not enough to express my gratitude to all our consultants who kept on believing and pushing us to be the best version of ourselves. For never getting tired of assisting us in our cases, helping us troubleshoot our complications, for your guidance and life advice. Thank you po. To my batchmates and junior residents who stood by me through the good times and bad, thank you. To my Ubuntu study group, thank you for that arduous 1 month of continuously learning from each other. And finally, to my family and friends, thank you for all the love, help, and support you've given me. Another lesson I've learned is that there is a perfect time for everything. Things will not always go our way. We need to be patient and trust Him entirely. To quote Dr. Baticolon's famous words, everybody is in such a hurry to achieve something or become someone that we forget to be thankful for what we have now. We are always where we are meant to be. Thank you for your precious time and never ending gratitude to the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology. To my fellow inductees, congratulations to us. And I hope that we continuously strive for success, for whatever success means to us. Some may pursue into fellowship, research, business, administrative, private practice, and the like. Success does not define us, as we will be the ones defining success. The road will be difficult and definitely won't be easy. We already know this. For even if it seems like we are sacrificing so much of our time and energy, but feel like we're stuck in the exact same place, it is not until we look back at where we started that we realize just how far we have come, just how much we have grown. And if we cannot see it just yet, don't stop now. It is just the beginning, and beginnings are beautiful. Not because they are easy, but because they are full of hope, hard work, possibility, opportunity, and anticipation of everything to come. Congratulations to the new diplomates once again, and maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Dr. Mendoza. I think you have summed up all the thoughts, hopes, gratitude, and even the frustrations of our inductees very well indeed. We wish you and all your batchmates a great journey ahead. Be proud of your accomplishments and use it for the betterment of your country, your fellow men, and of your profession. And to officially welcome you to the ranks of diplomates of the PBO, may I now call in again our President, Dr. Tuanyo, to administer your oath. May I request all our inductees to turn on their cameras so that we can see you on this momentous occasion. Dr. Tuanyo?
To all the inductees, congratulations. But before that, you have to administer your oath. So may I all ask you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, of state your town, city, or province. Having been certified diplomate of the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology, do solemnly swear to consistently maintain full professional knowledge and skills and safeguard the public and profession from those who are deficient in competence and moral character. I will continuously upgrade my professional competency in the best ethical manner without prejudice to safety and care of my patient. So help me God. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Tuanyo, and congratulations to all of you. Sa wakas, tapos na. You are now officially diplomates of the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology. Give yourselves a round of applause. Congratulations. Now, we all know that the PBO is not just about certifying you as diplomates. We also work to ensure that your training program meets the standards set forth by the board to ensure that they produce competent clinicians, such as yourselves. The process of accreditation, though still remaining as stringent, as transparent, and as standardized, has rapidly evolved over the last few years, spurred on both by technological advances and a global health situation. To recognize the programs that have been successfully accredited in 2021, I would like to call on the chair of the Committee on Accreditation, Dr. Milagros Arroyo.
Good afternoon. It is my honor to present the following institutions who, under the guidance of their chairs and their residence training officers, have successfully passed the criteria set by the PBO to achieve accreditation for the years 2022 to 2024. These institutions are Cebu Velez General Hospital, her chair, Dr. Mario Dennis Amparado, her resident training officer, Myra Vita Ocobillo. Fatima University Medical Center, chair, Dr. Juan Lopez, resident training officer, Carlo Antonio Nasol. Jose B. Lingad Memorial Regional Hospital. Her chair, Dr. Roland Mangajas, Residence Training Officer, Dr. Polita Pamela Astudillo. Jose R. Reyes Memorial Medical Center. Chair, Dr. Rodrigo Senador, Residence Training Officer, Dr. Cynthia Versosa. Mariano Marcos Memorial Medical Center. Chair, Dr. Rosemary Garganta, Residence Training Officer, Sofia Cecilia Sipin. Quezon City General Hospital, Chair, Dr. Francisco Miguel Fernandez, Residence Training Officer, Dr. Ricardo Ventura. St. Luke's Medical Center, Dr. Erwin Kua, Residence Training Officer, Dr. Raymond Nelson Regalado. University of the East, Ramon Magsaysay Memorial Medical Center, Chair, Dr. Mark Anthony Imperial, Residence Training Officer, Lawrence Marlon Pe. Veterans Memorial Medical Center, Chair, Dr. June Mendiola, Residence Training Officer, Abigail Guray. Vicente Soto Memorial Medical Center, Chair, Dr. Adele Marie Roa, Residence Training Officer, Christine Siguan Bell. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arroyo, and congratulations to our accredited training institutions. We hope that you continue to uphold the high standards set forth by your institutions and the PBO. And now, to close today's very joyous occasion, may I call on the immediate past Vice President of the Philippine Board of Ophthalmology, Dr. Pearl Tamesis Villalon.
Hello everyone. It seems that we have reached the end of this very special event. Let me thank those who are responsible for organizing this program. Dr. Sherman Valero, Dr. Benedict John, Dr. Yasin Sin, First on. This would have been possible without the technical group and platform for learning. Thank you to the PBO Board of Trustees and the members of the board for being here today. Many are unseen with this program, but they are here. Congratulations to the new diplomates and their parents and families. Congratulations to the chairman. This program has successfully hurdled the challenging accreditation process. Now, let me leave the diplomates two very important things to remember and ponder upon after the ceremony and for the rest of their lives as diplomates. Actually, your lives as truly certified ophthalmologists begin to take now. Here's a very short but meaningful quote from the book Jonathan Livingston Seagull, The Richard Back. I quote, "Once school is finished and the time has come for the next one to begin." Truly a good reminder that learning without never really stops, and that this includes lessons in life. And now, the two reminders and challenges that I have for you. Challenge number one, please continue learning ophthalmology. Continue updating your knowledge and skills so that you can serve your patients well. Number two, challenge number two, be truly ethical and moral diplomatic ophthalmologist. We'd like to thank everyone for being here today. Enjoy the rest of the evening. And until next year for a very special get together again like this one. Bye. Good night. Thank you.
There were some technical issues on Dr. Pearl's closing speech. We will try to get her back online. If you can just give us a minute. Can we still do that? Can we play a video loop first, while we fix this? Thank you. Hello, good afternoon, and we apologize for the technical glitch. We'd like to call back on Dr. Pearl Tames Villalon to give us the closing remarks. Dr. Pearl,
Okay. Yeah. How far
we
did I
couldn't
get?
let you go without hearing what you had to
How,
say.
how far did I go kanina? Nothing.
Start
I
na lang,
just
start na lang. You're okay
okay.
na. All right,
Yeah.
so to close tonight's ceremonies, Dr. Pearl Tames Villalon.
Well, it seems that I've reached the end of this program. It's a very special event with the thunder and everything. That's why maybe I got disconnected. But let me thank you, those who are responsible for organizing the program, Philip Sherman, Dr. Valero, and Dr. Limbonchong, and Dr. King, and Donna, of course, and the technical group all learn. Thank you to the board of trustees and the members of the board. They Many of them are not here. They're unseen in the program, but they are here. They're listening and watching. Congratulations to the new diplomates and their parents and families. And congratulations to the chairman of the programs that have been accredited. It's really difficult hurdling the requirements for accreditation. Let me now leave the diplomates two very important things to remember and ponder upon after the ceremonies are over. And I will say for the rest of your lives as diplomate ophthalmologists. Actually, your lives as truly certified ophthalmologists begin now, today. Now, here's a very short but meaningful quote from the book. Jonathan Livingston Seagull by Richard Bach. It's a one-liner, It says, "This school is finished, and the time has come for the next to begin." Truly, this is a good reminder that learning never stops, and this includes lessons in life. And now, the two reminders and challenges that I mentioned earlier. Challenge number one for diplomates: continue learning ophthalmology, continue updating your knowledge and skills to be able to serve your patients well and better. Challenge number two: please be ethical, truly ethical and moral in your practice as diplomate ophthalmologists. This will get you very far. I mean, with everything. With that, I thank everyone for being here today. Enjoy the rest of the evening. And until next year, for again another special event like this one for the next batch, thank you very much and goodbye.
And with that, we would like to thank everyone for joining the PBO and our newly minted diplomates in this momentous occasion. Once again, our gratitude and congratulations to all of you and your loved ones. We wish you well in your future endeavors, and we hope that you will carry the letters DPBO with much pride and with much responsibility. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Stay safe and have a great evening ahead. Bye-bye.